Picture this, a quiet Colorado morning, the kind where the sun's just peeking over the hills, and I'm out by my barn, breathing in that crisp, earthy air, when suddenly, I hear her scream. "You can't do this to me. I'm the president of this HOA." That was Nancy Coleman, cuffed and flailing like a cornered cat, as my son, Deputy Matt Grayson, snapped the handcuffs shut, his badge glinting like a promise of justice. Her face, oh, that look of pure shock when Matt said, "Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing, harassment, and filing a false police report." It's burned into my memory, and I'm betting she'll never forget it either. My name's Clara Grayson, a 62-year-old retired schoolteacher, widowed, and stubborn as the day is long. After my husband, Jim, passed 2 years ago, God rest him, I left behind the city's hum and moved back to our family's old spread, Grayson Valley Ranch, out in the rolling hills of Elmswood County. This place, it's not just land. It's where my grandpa built the first fence, where my dad taught me to ride, where Jim and I danced under the stars on our wedding night. But when I rolled up with my moving truck, I didn't expect a fight. I sure didn't expect Nancy, the HOA's self-crowned dictator, to call the cops on me, claiming I was a squatter on my own damn land. And I really didn't expect what we'd uncover, a scheme so twisted it'd make your head spin. Let me take you back to how it all started. I'd been gone from Elmswood for years, living in Denver after Jim and I got married. When he died, the city felt like a cage, too loud, too lonely, too full of folks who didn't know my name. So I packed up, drove out to the ranch, and started fixing it up. The barn needed paint, the fences were sagging, but it was home. Problem was, while I'd been away, some of the surrounding land got swallowed up by a fancy new development called Crestview Estates, complete with an HOA that acted like it ruled the world. My ranch, though? It's outside their lines, always has been. I checked the deeds, the surveys, everything. But to Nancy Coleman, a 50-something blonde with a clipboard and a superiority complex, my old ranch house was an eyesore, a blight on her perfect suburban kingdom. The first time I met her, I was hauling boxes off the truck, sweat dripping down my back, when her shiny BMW pulled up. She leaned out the window, sunglasses perched like a crown, and said, "Excuse me, are you supposed to be here?" I wiped my hands on my jeans, gave her a smile, and said, "Yup, this is my place." Moving back in, her eyes narrowed. "This area is part of Crestview. You need HOA approval for all this." She waved at my boxes like they were trash. I kept my cool, told her my land wasn't under her HOA, and even offered to show her the paperwork. She just smirked, said, "We'll see," and peeled out. That was the moment I knew she wasn't going to let this go. Nancy made it her mission to drive me out. It started small, a complaint about my truck's excessive dust on the road. Then she claimed my chickens, on a ranch, were a public health risk. She even sent a letter saying my barn's peeling red paint violated Crestview's aesthetic guidelines. I laughed that one off. But it stopped being funny when I woke up to "Get Out" scrawled across my shed in black spray paint. No proof it was her, but I knew. I painted over it, kept my head down, tried to be neighborly. I'd grown up baling hay and wrangling calves before breakfast. Some lady with too much hairspray wasn't going to scare me off. But Nancy kept coming. She'd stand at my fence, snapping photos, muttering about property values. One day, she yelled that my windmill, my grandpa's windmill, was an unauthorized structure. I just stared at her and said, "Nancy, it's been here since 1947. You want to take it up with my grandpa's ghost?" That got her mad. She started rallying her HOA cronies, passing around a petition to protect the community's integrity, which was code for "Make Clara Leave." Most folks ignored her, but she got a few signatures from people too scared to say no. My son, Matt, started worrying. He'd swing by after his shifts, still in his deputy uniform, and say, "Ma, this is getting out of hand. Let me do something." I'd shake my head, tell him I'd handle it my way, kindly, for now. But I should have known Nancy wasn't playing by any rules. Things hit a boiling point one Tuesday morning. I was out watering my garden when 2 sheriff's cruisers rolled up, lights flashing. 3 deputies stepped out, looking uncomfortable. "Ma'am," one said, "we got a call about a squatter on this property. Says you're illegally occupying HOA land." I nearly dropped my hose. "Squatter? This is my ranch." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Nancy at the end of the driveway, arms crossed, that smug grin plastered on her face. "I have proof," she called out, waving a folder. She doesn't belong here. I took a deep breath, walked inside, and grabbed my deed, title, and ID. I'd kept them ready, just in case. The deputies were checking my papers when Matt's cruiser roared up. He stepped out, eyes like steel, and said, "What's going on here?" When he turned to Nancy and asked if she'd filed the report, she didn't even flinch. "Yes, I did," she said, all high and mighty. "That woman's been squatting for weeks. This land belongs to Crestview Estates." Matt pulled out his badge, slow and deliberate, and said, "Ma'am, I'm Deputy Grayson. You're under arrest for harassment, filing a false report, and trespassing." Nancy's jaw hit the ground. You're her son," she sputtered. He nodded. "And you just made a big mistake." As he cuffed her, she screamed, thrashing, calling for her husband, her neighbors, anybody. Nobody moved. The neighbors just stood there, some whispering, some shaking their heads. But then, out of the crowd, Nancy's friend Ellen stepped forward, clutching a folder. "Wait," she said, voice shaky. "You need to see this." Matt took it, opened it, and his face went hard. Inside was a complaint form with my signature on it, except I'd never signed a thing. That folder changed everything. It wasn't just one fake document. There were dozens, all with my name, all claiming I'd filed complaints against myself, noise violations, livestock issues, you name it. Ellen, looking like she might faint, said, "Nancy told me to hold on to these. She said they were real." Matt handed the folder to another deputy. "This is evidence now," he said. Then Ellen dropped a bombshell. "There's more. In the HOA clubhouse basement. Files, cameras, everything." Nancy, still cuffed, went pale. As they loaded her into the cruiser, she yelled, "This isn't over, Clara. You'll regret this." I looked her in the eye and said, "No, Nancy, you will." That night, sitting on my porch with Matt, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was bigger than just Nancy's vendetta. Over iced tea, with the crickets humming, he told me the forged documents could mean felony charges. But if the HOA's hiding more, he said, we're dealing with a conspiracy. I nodded, staring out at the fields Jim and I used to walk. I'd come here for peace, but now I was in a fight. And then, the next morning, I found a note in my mailbox, no address, just my name scrawled on it. "Leave now, or it gets ugly." My blood ran cold. But I wasn't scared. I was pissed. I called Matt, set up cameras, and got myself a dog, a big old mutt named Rusty who'd bark at a leaf falling. But even with Rusty by my side, things got worse. 2 nights later, Rusty went nuts, growling at the barn. I grabbed a flashlight, heart pounding, and crept out with him. In the shadows, I saw 3 figures, 2 guys and a woman, sneaking around with what looked like a gas can. I yelled, "Get off my land!" And Rusty charged, barking like a demon. They bolted, dropping the can. Matt showed up minutes later, found it, and confirmed they tried to torch my barn. By dawn, they caught 2 of them, Nancy's cousin and some guy she'd hired for community projects. The woman got away. But they found a note taped inside the barn. "It's not your land we want. It's what's under it." My stomach dropped. Jim had mentioned something years ago, an old survey hinting at oil deposits. We'd laughed it off, happy with our simple life. But Nancy, she must have known. Matt and I dug deeper. We called up an old friend, Hank, a geologist who owed Jim a favor. He ran tests and confirmed it. There was oil under my ranch, not a gusher, but enough to make someone rich. Then we hit the county archives and found the real kicker, a mineral rights transfer with Jim's signature, dated a year after he died. Forged, obviously, and tied to Crestview Holdings, LLC, a shell company linked to an HOA board member named Paul Decker. It was all coming together. Nancy wasn't just a control freak. She was part of a scheme to steal my land's wealth. Matt said, "We need a confession." So I invited Ellen over for coffee, played it soft. Asked if Nancy ever mentioned oil. Ellen fidgeted, then spilled. She said your land was worth a fortune, and if you wouldn't leave, they'd make it happen. Matt, listening through a recorder, got it all. The police raided the HOA office that night. They found everything, fake documents, a forged notary stamp, even maps of my land marked for drilling. 4 board members were in on it, planning to sell the rights to a shady developer. But then, a twist. Ellen, sweet Ellen who'd brought me that folder, was caught trying to burn county records. Turns out, she owned a piece of Crestview Holdings, added last minute, maybe out of greed, maybe fear. She wouldn't talk, But Nancy did. Facing years in prison, she flipped, handing over a USB drive with emails, recordings, and a plan called Operation Clearview to target old folks like me, widows with valuable land. My ranch was just the start, but the real danger came later. The FBI, now involved, found an email from the developer. Phase 2 starts Sunday. Take the ranch, no matter what. They posted agents at my place, disguised as farmhands. Sunday afternoon, my phone went dead, no signal, no Wi-Fi. Then 3 black SUVs roared over the hill, 6 guys in masks jumping out, one yelling through a bullhorn, "Clara Grayson, sign over the rights, or we take it." Before I could blink, the agents sprang from the barn, the silo, everywhere, shouting, "FBI, drop your weapons." Bullets flew, glass shattered, Rusty howled. Matt tackled a guy with a bomb. Yeah, a bomb, meant to blow my barn sky high, with a fake contract inside to say I'd sold out, and vanished. The FBI disarmed it just in time, rounded up the thugs, and found a USB in the bomber's pack. And that's when we saw the name behind it all. Frank Wheeler, Jim's old buddy, our best man, Matt's godfather. Frank, the man who'd grill burgers at our 4th of July parties, who'd cried at Jim's funeral. He'd set up Crestview Holdings, bankrolled the whole thing, all while smiling to my face. The FBI tracked him to a cabin in the mountains, caught him burning hard drives full of plans to hit 9 more ranches, all owned by widows. He got 20 years. Nancy got 6. Ellen disappeared into witness protection. And me? I thought it was over, until the state showed up, saying my land wasn't just hiding oil, but lithium, worth millions. They offered $30 million to lease it. I told them no. This ranch isn't about money. It's about Jim, my family, the life we built. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. The FBI found one last file on Frank's drive, a name, someone higher up, still out there, still pulling strings. I started a fight I didn't mean to, sparked a movement called the Valley Rebellion, got laws passed to protect ranches like mine. But if that name's real, this isn't over. I'm still here, on my porch, Rusty at my feet, watching the sunset. I won this round, but I can't shake the feeling another's coming. What would you do? Sell the land and walk away? Or fight for what's yours, no matter who comes knocking? Drop it in the comments. Tell me your stories. Have you ever faced a bully like Nancy or a betrayal like Frank's? Hit like if you're Team Ranch. Subscribe for more real-life battles, and let's keep this conversation going. I'm Clara, and I'm not going anywhere.